Lucky American coins. The 1977 United States 1-cent coin, better known as the 1977 Lincoln Memorial Cent, is one of those coins that can look completely ordinary at first glance, but becomes much more interesting when examined carefully. Millions of people have handled a 1977 penny without giving it a second thought. It may have passed through cash registers, vending machines, grocery stores, banks, pockets, drawers, jars, and old collections. Some examples have been worn down by decades of circulation, while others have survived in remarkably sharp condition. And among the enormous number of 1977 cents produced, a small number may attract collectors because of unusual mint errors, exceptional preservation, or distinctive characteristics. The first thing to understand about the 1977 Lincoln cent is that the date alone does not automatically make the coin rare. The United States Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents in 1977, and the Philadelphia Mint alone struck approximately 4.469 billion examples. The Denver Mint produced more than 4.194 billion 1977 D cents. Because such enormous quantities were made, a normal circulated 1977 penny generally has only modest collectible value. The real excitement begins when a particular coin can be demonstrated to have something unusual about it. That unusual feature might be a genuine striking error, a dramatic off-center strike, a broad strike, a clipped planchette, a major die break, a double strike, or another recognized minting anomaly. The standard 1977 Lincoln cent weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures about 19 millimeters in diameter. It has a plain edge rather than a reeded edge. The composition of Lincoln cents from this era is commonly described as 95% copper and 5% zinc, although the exact metallic description is sometimes given in numismatic references as copper with a small percentage of zinc and tin. The important point for collectors is that the 1977 cent belongs to the traditional bronze-colored copper alloy era of the Lincoln cent, before the United States Mint changed the composition to copper-plated zinc in 1982. The 1977 coin therefore has the familiar reddish-brown appearance that many people associate with classic American pennies. On the obverse of the coin is the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln faces toward the right, and above his head appears the inscription Liberty. The date 1977 is positioned to the right of the portrait. The phrase "I in God we trust" appears along the upper rim. This design connects the 1977 coin to one of the longest-running and most recognizable coin designs in American history. The Lincoln cent itself dates back to 1909, when the United States Mint introduced a new 1-cent design honoring the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The original Lincoln cent was designed by Victor David Brenner. Although the reverse design changed in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the obverse portrait remained based on Brenner's famous work. The 1977 cent therefore belongs to a remarkable period in American numismatic history, when the Lincoln portrait had already been used for decades, and the memorial reverse was a familiar part of everyday American life. The reverse of the 1977 Lincoln cent features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. The building is shown from the front, with the words United States of America along the upper portion, and 1 cent along the lower portion. The phrase E pluribus unum appears above the memorial. The design also includes the mint mark when applicable. A 1977 penny without a mint mark was produced at Philadelphia, while a small D beneath the date identifies a coin struck at the Denver Mint. San Francisco also produced proof cents for collectors, and those coins are generally identified by an S mint mark. The symbolism of the Lincoln cent is especially important. Abraham Lincoln is one of the most famous figures in United States history, remembered for preserving the Union during the Civil War and for his role in the abolition of slavery. His appearance on the cent gave the smallest denomination in American coinage a powerful historical connection. The word liberty represents the nation's ideals, while I in God we trust reflects the official motto found on United States coinage. E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, expresses the idea of unity among the states and people of the United States. For a collector examining a 1977 penny, the first step should be identifying the mint mark. If there is no mint mark beneath the date, the coin was struck at Philadelphia. If there is AD, it was made at Denver. If the coin is a proof from San Francisco, it should have an S mint mark and usually show the characteristics of a specially prepared proof coin, including sharper details and a reflective or specially finished surface depending on the proof production method. The absence of a mint mark on a 1977 Philadelphia cent is not itself an error. This is a common misunderstanding among new collectors. Philadelphia cents from this era normally did not carry a mint mark. Therefore, a 1977 penny without AD or S should not automatically be considered rare. It is a normal Philadelphia issue unless another unusual characteristic is present. The same caution applies to discoloration. A 1977 penny that looks silver, gray, black, or unusually dark may attract attention, but color alone does not prove a rare mint error. Environmental exposure, chemical reactions, cleaning, corrosion, heat, or other post-mint damage can alter the appearance of a coin. A genuine mint error must generally be connected to something that happened during the manufacturing process, rather than something that occurred after the coin left the mint. This distinction is one of the most important concepts in coin collecting. A coin can be damaged after production and still look extremely unusual, but collectors usually do not classify ordinary post-mint damage as a valuable mint error. For example, a penny that was flattened by a machine, scratched with a sharp object, drilled, chemically treated, heated, or intentionally altered may be interesting as an object, but it generally does not have the same numismatic value as a genuine mint-made error. One of the most desirable categories of errors is the off-center strike. An off-center 1977 cent occurs when the planchette is not properly positioned between the dies at the moment of striking. Instead of receiving a centered impression, the coin is struck with part of the design missing from the edge. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still retaining enough of the date and other identifying features, the more interesting it can become to collectors. For an off-center 1977 penny to be especially desirable, the error should be clearly visible and preferably preserve the complete date. A coin that is only slightly off-center may bring a relatively modest premium, while a dramatic error can be worth considerably more depending on the percentage of displacement, condition, visual appeal, and certification. The exact value cannot be determined simply by looking at a photograph without examining the coin carefully. Another possible error category is a broad strike. A broad-struck coin is produced when the collar that normally helps contain the planchette does not function correctly during striking. The resulting coin can spread outward beyond its normal diameter, producing an unusual shape. The design may appear stretched or expanded toward the edges. A genuine broad strike from 1977 could be collectible, particularly if the error is dramatic and the coin remains in good condition. A related error is a partial collar error. This happens when the planchette is not correctly seated in the collar during striking. The result may create a distinctive shape sometimes described by collectors with terms such as a railroad rim, depending on the appearance. A genuine partial collar error should be carefully examined because damaged coins can sometimes resemble mint-made errors. Clipped planchets are another type of error that collectors search for. A clipped planchette occurs when the metal strip used to produce coin blanks is improperly punched, causing a portion of the planchette to be missing before the coin is struck. The result may have a curved or straight missing section. A genuine clipped planchette often shows characteristics consistent with the minting process, and specialists can sometimes determine whether the feature is authentic or simply damage that happened after production. A curved clip can produce a crescent-shaped missing area along the edge of the coin. A straight clip may show a straight line where the metal was removed. Other forms exist as well. However, the appearance alone is not always sufficient to authenticate a clip. Experienced collectors and professional grading services look for specific characteristics that distinguish genuine planchette errors from damage. Die breaks can also create unusual 1977 cents. A die is the hardened tool used to strike the design onto the coin. Over time, a die can develop cracks, breaks, or other imperfections. When such a damaged die continues to strike coins, the resulting coins may show raised lines or lumps corresponding to the damaged area of the die. A major die break can be dramatic. In some cases, a piece of the die may break away, leaving a raised area on the struck coins. Collectors often use terms such as cud when referring to certain large die break features around the edge of a coin. The value depends on the size and location of the feature, its authenticity, and collector demand. Die cracks are another possibility. A small die crack may be visible as a raised line on the coin. Not every die crack is rare or valuable. Many die cracks can occur during the life of a die, and minor examples may have little premium. A dramatic, well-positioned, or unusual die break can be much more desirable. Machine doubling is another feature frequently misunderstood by people searching for valuable pennies. A 1977 cent may show what appears to be doubled lettering or a doubled date. However, many examples of apparent doubling are actually caused by mechanical or strike-related effects rather than a true doubled die. Machine doubling generally does not have the same value as a genuine double die variety. A genuine double die is created during the die-making process. The design on the die itself has a doubled image in a particular area. When that die strikes coins, the doubling appears consistently on multiple examples. Collectors and specialists examine the shape, direction, and location of the doubling to determine whether it is genuine. This is why simply seeing two outlines around a letter does not automatically mean a coin is worth a fortune. The exact characteristics matter. The date, lettering, mint mark, and other design elements must be examined carefully. Professional attribution can be especially valuable when the potential difference between a common coin and a collectible variety is significant. The phrase 1977 penny error worth $228 million is the kind of claim that frequently appears in viral social media videos and online articles. Such claims should be approached with extreme caution. There is no documented evidence that an ordinary 1977 Lincoln cent, even one described as an error, has sold for $228 million. A claim of that size would require extraordinary documentation from a major auction house, professional grading service, or other authoritative numismatic source. A real coin worth hundreds of millions of dollars would be one of the most important numismatic discoveries in history. Such a sale would receive widespread attention from professional collectors, major auction companies, museums, newspapers, and specialist publications. It would not be an ordinary, undocumented internet rumor. The real story of the 1977 penny is still fascinating because valuable coins do not need to be worth millions to be important. A genuine error can be a valuable collectible even if the final price is hundreds or thousands of dollars rather than hundreds of millions. In fact, one of the most exciting parts of coin collecting is discovering an unusual coin that most people have overlooked. The documented market evidence for normal 1977 cents shows a very different picture from the $228 million claim. PCGS records a 1977 Philadelphia cent in MS-66 red with an auction record of $2,645. The same reference identifies the 1977 Philadelphia cent as a common issue overall, with the highest grades becoming much more difficult and expensive. For the 1977 D Lincoln cent, PCGS records an auction result of $7,050 for an MS-68 red example. These figures demonstrate that condition can dramatically influence value, but they also show why a $228 million valuation is not supported by established market records. The difference between a normal 1977 penny and an extraordinary 1977 penny is therefore essential. A circulated example may be worth only face value or a small amount to a collector, depending on its condition and specific characteristics. A high-grade uncirculated example can be worth more. A top-grade red example with exceptional eye appeal may command a significant premium. A genuine dramatic mint error can potentially be worth substantially more than a normal example. But each of these categories must be evaluated independently. Condition is one of the biggest factors in determining the value of any Lincoln cent. Collectors often use the Sheldon grading scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. Coins in circulated condition receive grades such as good, very good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated, and various mint state grades. Coins that have never circulated may receive mint state grades, while proof coins are graded using proof designations. For copper Lincoln cents, color designation is also important. Collectors and grading services commonly describe coins as brown, or red. A brown coin has experienced significant natural color change over time. A red-brown coin retains some original reddish coloration. A red coin retains a high degree of its original mint red appearance. A 1977 cent with brilliant original red color and exceptionally strong surfaces can be much more desirable than a heavily circulated brown example. However, collectors should be cautious about artificially colored or chemically treated coins. A coin that has been manipulated to make it appear more attractive may not receive the same treatment from professional graders. The 1977 cent's weight provides another useful clue when investigating possible errors. A standard example should weigh approximately 3.11 grams. If a coin weighs substantially more or less, the difference may deserve investigation. However, weight alone does not prove an error. Dirt, corrosion, damage, inaccurate scales, or other factors can affect measurements. If a 1977 penny weighs significantly outside the expected range, the collector should record the exact weight using a precise digital scale. The diameter and thickness should also be measured carefully. Comparing the measurements to known normal examples can help determine whether the coin deserves further examination. A particularly interesting situation would be a 1977 cent struck on the wrong planchette. Wrong planchette errors occur when a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination or another type of coin. Such errors can be highly collectible, especially when the mistake is dramatic and can be conclusively authenticated. However, suspected wrong planchette errors require professional examination. A coin that has been altered after leaving the mint can sometimes look unusual. A genuine wrong planchette error should be consistent with the manufacturing characteristics of the United States Mint and should generally be examined by an experienced professional. The mint mark is another important feature. A 1977 D penny came from the Denver Mint, and the D can sometimes be the focus of varieties or die characteristics. The 1977 D cent was also produced in enormous quantities, so the mint mark alone does not make it rare. The value comes from the combination of date, mint, grade, color, era, variety, and demand. The 1977 Philadelphia cent is also common in circulated grades. According to PCGS commentary, examples up through approximately MS66 are relatively easy to obtain, while higher-grade examples become scarcer. This demonstrates an important principle in modern coin collecting. A coin can have a huge mintage and still become desirable in exceptional condition. The total number produced is only one part of the story. The number that survive in truly exceptional condition is often much smaller. The same principle applies to the 1977 D cent. While billions were produced, the finest examples can be difficult to find. PCGS commentary notes that the 1977 D is common through much of the lower mint state range, but becomes increasingly difficult in very high grades. The auction record of $7,050 for an MS-68 red example illustrates how a common date can become valuable when combined with exceptional grade and preservation. For collectors searching through old jars of pennies, the first step should be simple observation. Do not immediately clean the coin. Do not polish it. Do not scratch the surface to see whether it is made of another metal. Do not attempt to remove discoloration with household chemicals. Cleaning can permanently reduce a coin's value and may destroy important evidence of its original condition. Instead, handle the coin by its edges. Use good lighting. Examine both sides with a magnifying glass or loupe. Look carefully at the date, mint mark, lettering, portrait, memorial building, and rim. Check whether the design is centered. Look for unusual doubling, cracks, breaks, missing sections, or strange shapes. The edge is especially important when examining possible errors. A genuine mint-made error may produce a distinctive edge appearance. A coin that has been cut, squeezed, or damaged after production may show scratches, metal displacement, or unnatural marks. The difference can be subtle, which is why authentication is so important. A good digital scale can be helpful for initial examination. A precision scale capable of measuring to at least 1/100th of a gram is preferable. The coin should be weighed after removing loose dirt without cleaning or damaging it. If the weight is unusual, the next step is professional evaluation rather than immediately assuming the coin is rare. Magnification can reveal details that are invisible to the naked eye. A 5x to 10x loupe is often sufficient for basic inspection. Higher magnification may be useful for specialized varieties, but too much magnification can sometimes make ordinary surface marks appear more significant than they really are. Photography is also useful. A collector can take clear photographs of the obverse and reverse, followed by close-up images of the suspected error. The date, mint mark, and unusual feature should all be visible. However, photographs can sometimes be misleading because lighting and camera angles can create the illusion of doubling or unusual shapes. For serious potential errors, authentication from a professional grading service is often the safest approach. Services such as PCGS and NGC can examine and encapsulate coins, and recognized errors or varieties may receive specific attribution when appropriate. Certification can make it easier to sell a significant coin because buyers have greater confidence in its authenticity and grade. The idea of a $228 million 1977 penny may be exciting as a story, but collectors should focus on what can actually be proven. The most valuable coin is not necessarily the coin with the most sensational internet headline. It is the coin with a verifiable history, a genuine rarity, strong condition, and a market of willing buyers. Auction records are particularly important because they provide evidence of what collectors have actually paid. An asking price on an online marketplace is not the same as a completed sale. Someone may list an ordinary penny for millions of dollars, but that does not mean anyone is willing to pay that amount. This is a critical distinction in the modern coin market. Online listings can contain exaggerated prices, incorrect descriptions, or sensational claims. A seller can write, "Rare $228 million penny" in a title, but the title itself has no authority. Collectors should look for documented auction results and professional references. The 1977 Lincoln cent is an excellent example of why research matters. The coin is old enough to attract attention, but common enough that most examples are not rare. Yet, within that enormous population, there are opportunities for collectors to find unusual pieces. This combination makes the 1977 penny interesting for beginners and experienced collectors alike. The history of the Lincoln cent also adds another layer of interest. The Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909, becoming the first regular United States coin to feature a real historical American figure. The choice of Abraham Lincoln was especially meaningful because the coin commemorated the centennial of his birth. The portrait design became one of the most enduring images in American numismatics. In 1959, the reverse was changed from the wheat ears design to the Lincoln Memorial design. The new reverse was created to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Frank Gasparo designed the memorial reverse, which remained on the cent until 2008. The 1977 coin therefore sits in the middle of the Lincoln Memorial cent era. It represents a period when the United States was undergoing significant cultural and economic changes. The country was recovering from the economic challenges of the 1970s, and inflation was becoming a major concern. Copper prices and the cost of producing coins would eventually become important factors in the future composition of the cent. The 1977 penny was struck during the era when copper was still the primary metal in the cent's alloy. This is one reason collectors sometimes pay attention to the date. The copper composition gives the coin a different weight and physical character from later copper-plated zinc cents. Nevertheless, the copper content should not be confused with rarity. Billions of copper cents were produced before the composition change, and most are not valuable simply because they contain copper. The numismatic value of a 1977 penny is generally determined by condition, era, variety, and demand rather than the raw metal content alone. When someone discovers a 1977 penny with an unusual appearance, the best approach is to ask several questions. Is the feature definitely present on the coin? Could it have happened after minting? Is it a recognized mint error? Does the error affect a significant portion of the coin? Is the date visible? Is the mint mark visible? Is the coin in good condition? Has the feature been professionally authenticated? These questions can prevent costly mistakes. One of the most common mistakes is assuming that every unusual-looking coin is valuable. Coins are frequently exposed to heat, chemicals, moisture, machinery, and physical impact. These forces can create dramatic effects. A penny can become distorted, discolored, scratched, or bent without becoming a rare mint error. Another mistake is assuming that a missing letter is automatically an error. Sometimes grease or debris can partially fill a die during the striking process, creating weak lettering. This may be interesting, but the value depends on the severity and significance of the feature. A coin with a weak date can also be caused by normal wear. A heavily circulated 1977 penny may have lost details from years of handling. That is not necessarily a mint error. The rim should also be inspected. A partial rim, irregular edge, or unusual shape can sometimes indicate a genuine error, but it can also result from post-mint damage. Professional authentication is the best way to separate the two. Collectors should also understand the difference between a die variety and a mint error. A die variety is associated with differences in the die itself, such as double dies or certain die markers. A mint error is generally a mistake occurring during the manufacturing process, such as an off-center strike or wrong planchet. Both categories can be collectible, but they are evaluated differently. A 1977 penny with a major, authenticated error could attract serious attention from specialists. The exact value could range from a modest premium to a much larger amount depending on the type of error. There is no universal price for a 1977 error penny. The market value must be determined by the specific error. For example, a minor die crack might add little value. A dramatic off-center strike might bring a stronger premium. A rare wrong planchet error could be substantially more desirable. A major double die, if authenticated and recognized, could attract specialists. A top-grade red example without an error could also command a premium because of its exceptional preservation. This is why the statement, 1977 penny worth $228 million, is misleading if presented as a verified market value. A responsible collector should instead say that some 1977 cents, with unusual errors or exceptional grades, can be worth significantly more than face value, while there's no confirmed evidence supporting a $228 million sale. The real excitement is in the possibility of discovery. Imagine finding a box of old coins and noticing that one 1977 penny looks different from the others. Perhaps the coin is dramatically off-center. Perhaps part of the planchet is missing. Perhaps the edge looks unusual. Perhaps the coin appears to have been struck more than once. The discovery could lead to an interesting investigation. The collector might compare the coin with photographs of known errors. They might weigh it. They might measure the diameter. They might examine the edge. If the error is genuine, the coin may receive an attribution that makes it easier to identify and sell. If the feature is damage, the collector still gains valuable knowledge about how coins are made and how errors are distinguished from alterations. That educational process is one of the greatest benefits of numismatics. Coin collecting teaches history, metallurgy, economics, art, manufacturing, and careful observation. A small copper coin can connect a collector to events that happened decades ago. The 1977 Lincoln cent also reminds us that rarity is relative. A coin can be common in general, but rare in a specific condition. A 1977 Philadelphia cent may be common in circulated grades, but much harder to find in the finest grades. The same can apply to the 1977 D issue. The difference between a common circulated coin and a top-grade certified example can be enormous. This is why grading matters. A coin graded MS-60 is technically uncirculated, but it may have significant marks or imperfections. An MS-65 coin has much stronger overall quality. At MS-67 or MS-68, even tiny marks can make a major difference. The higher the grade, the more demanding the market becomes. Red color also matters for copper coins. A bright, original red coin can be much more desirable than a brown example of the same grade. Collectors value original surfaces and natural preservation. However, artificial color is a serious concern. Some coins have been treated to make them look brighter. Professional graders may detect such alterations, and an altered coin may receive a details designation rather than a normal numerical grade. Collectors should therefore avoid cleaning. Even well-intentioned cleaning can leave hairlines or surface damage that permanently affects the coin's desirability. The 1977 Lincoln cent also has an interesting connection to the transition in United States coin production. During the 1970s, rising copper prices caused increasing concern about the cost of producing copper cents. The mint eventually changed the cent's composition in 1982. The 1977 penny is therefore part of the final years of the traditional copper alloy Lincoln cent. For collectors, this historical context makes the coin more interesting even when it is not rare. The coin's symbolism remains powerful as well. Lincoln's portrait represents one of the most important figures in American history. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse represents a national monument dedicated to the same president. The combination of portrait and memorial creates a visual connection between the individual and the national memory surrounding him. The words United States of America identify the issuing nation. 1 cent identifies the denomination. E pluribus unum expresses unity. Liberty represents an ideal central to American political tradition. In God We Trust reflects the official national motto. Together, these elements make the coin much more than a piece of metal. It is a small historical document. When examining a 1977 penny, the collector should also look for the mint mark beneath the date. A missing mint mark on a Philadelphia coin is normal. A D identifies Denver. An S identifies San Francisco proof production. The mint mark can help establish which production facility created the coin. The Philadelphia and Denver mintages were both extremely high. PCGS lists 4,469,930,000 for the Philadelphia issue, and 4,194,062,300 for the Denver issue. These numbers explain why the ordinary 1977 penny is not generally considered a rare date. However, high mintage does not eliminate the possibility of valuable individual coins. The condition census for a series can be dramatically different from the total mintage. Billions may have been made, but only a small number may survive with virtually flawless surfaces and original color. This is especially important for modern coins. Many were placed directly into circulation, where they were scratched, dropped, rubbed, exposed to moisture, and stored improperly. Even coins that were originally struck in excellent condition may have been damaged during transportation and handling. A coin that survived in a protected environment can therefore be significantly more desirable. For anyone hoping to discover a valuable 1977 penny, the most productive strategy is not to assume every coin is worth a fortune. Instead, learn how to recognize legitimate varieties and errors. Study minting processes. Understand the difference between doubling and machine doubling. Learn what genuine off-center strikes look like. Understand clipped planchets and die breaks. Compare coins carefully. The more knowledge a collector gains, the better the chances of recognizing something unusual. A good collection should also include accurate records. When a potentially valuable coin is discovered, record where it came from if possible. Note the date, mint mark, weight, measurements, and visible characteristics. Take photographs. Keep the coin in a protective holder that does not damage the surface. Avoid PVC-containing materials for long-term storage, as certain plastics can damage coins over time. Use appropriate archival quality holders or certified slabs for valuable pieces. Insurance may also become relevant for genuinely valuable collections. A normal 1977 penny does not require special insurance, but a collection containing high-value certified errors or rare coins may need protection. Selling a coin is another process where patience matters. If a 1977 penny appears to have a major error, do not immediately accept the first offer. Research comparable sales. Obtain professional opinions. Compare auction results. Understand grading and authentication. A legitimate buyer should be willing to explain why they believe the coin has a particular value. Be cautious of anyone who claims your coin is worth millions, but immediately offers you a tiny amount in cash. Such tactics are common in the world of collectibles. Likewise, be cautious of viral videos claiming that ordinary coins are worth extraordinary amounts. The internet rewards sensational headlines, but collectors should rely on evidence. The documented auction records for the 1977 Lincoln cent provide a useful reality check. The Philadelphia issue's listed auction record of $2,645 for an MS-66 red coin is impressive compared with face value, but it is nowhere near $228 million. The 1977 D issue's $7,050 record for an MS-68 red example demonstrates that exceptional quality can produce strong prices. But again, there's no documented $228 million market value. This does not mean that a truly extraordinary 1977 era could never command a strong price. The market is determined by rarity, authenticity, condition, and demand. But any extraordinary claim requires extraordinary evidence. A collector who discovers a suspected major error should consider sending the coin to a reputable grading and authentication service. The professional opinion can determine whether the feature is genuine, whether the coin has been altered, and how it should be described. For the casual collector, the 1977 Lincoln cent remains a fun coin to examine. Its enormous mintage means it can still be encountered in old collections and accumulated change. A person can learn a great deal simply by comparing multiple examples of the same date. Place 10 1977 pennies side by side. Look at the color. Look at the surfaces. Compare the lettering. Examine the rims. Check the mint marks. You may begin to notice how coins that appear identical at first can actually have different levels of preservation. This simple exercise teaches the fundamentals of grading. The best-looking coin is not always the most valuable. A coin can be shiny because it has been cleaned, while a naturally preserved coin may have a more subdued appearance, but be much more desirable. Original surfaces are extremely important. Likewise, the largest-looking error is not always the most valuable. The error must be genuine and desirable to collectors. Some unusual features are common forms of damage, and may have little numismatic significance. The date is also important because it provides historical context. A 1977 cent is nearly half a century old as of the mid-2020s. While it is not considered an ancient coin, its age means that many examples have already disappeared from circulation or been damaged. As time passes, the best preserved specimens may become increasingly desirable. The 1977 penny also represents the final decades of the original copper alloy Lincoln cent. Collectors interested in the history of United States coinage often build date sets that include examples from different eras. A 1977 cent can therefore have a place in a larger collection even if it is not individually rare. The Lincoln Memorial reverse itself is historically important. It was used for nearly 50 years, from 1959 through 2008. Millions of Americans grew up using coins carrying the design. For many people, the Lincoln Memorial cent is the penny they remember from childhood. The 1977 cent sits near the middle of that long period. It represents an era when the design was familiar across the country and the coin was used in everyday commerce. From a numismatic perspective, the most exciting 1977 cent would be one that combines multiple desirable characteristics. Imagine a genuine major mint era, excellent preservation, original red color, a clearly visible date, and professional authentication. Such a coin could attract significant collector interest. But the exact value would still depend on the market. A coin is worth what knowledgeable buyers are willing to pay, not what a sensational article claims. This principle applies to every collectible. A 1977 penny can therefore have several different levels of value. An ordinary circulated example may be worth approximately its face value in everyday transactions. A collector may pay a small premium for a nicer example. A high-grade certified coin can be worth substantially more. A top-grade example may command thousands depending on the exact issue and grade. A genuine major mint error could potentially bring another level of value. But the $228 million figure should be treated as an unverified sensational claim rather than an established market price. The best approach is to replace the question, "Is this penny worth $228 million?" with a more useful series of questions. What exactly is the coin? Which mint produced it? What is its weight? Is the date correct? Is there a mint mark? Is the coin circulated or uncirculated? What is the grade? Is the color original? Is the unusual feature a genuine mint error? Has the error been authenticated? Are there documented sales of comparable coins? Those questions lead to a realistic valuation. If a collector believes they have found an unusual 1977 cent, they should not clean it or alter it. They should photograph it, weigh it, measure it, and seek an expert opinion. If the coin appears potentially valuable, professional authentication is an investment that can protect both the buyer and seller. The story of the 1977 Lincoln cent is ultimately a story about attention to detail. Billions were produced, but individual coins can still be different. Some were struck perfectly. Some developed die characteristics. Some may have experienced unusual minting errors. Some survived in exceptional condition. Others were heavily circulated and eventually disappeared. The challenge for the collector is learning how to tell them apart. The most important lesson is that rarity cannot be created by a headline. A coin does not become valuable simply because someone writes an enormous number next to its name. Value must be supported by evidence, rarity, authenticity, and actual market demand. The 1977 Lincoln cent is a perfect example. It is common as a date, but interesting as a collectible. Its 3.11 gram weight, 19 mm diameter, copper alloy composition, Lincoln portrait, memorial reverse, and historical background make it an important part of the Lincoln cent series. Its genuine errors and exceptional high-grade examples can be worth far more than 1 cent, while the most ordinary pieces remain common. For someone searching through a jar of old coins, the possibility of finding a genuine error is still exciting. Perhaps one day a collector will discover a spectacular example that deserves serious attention. The important thing is to investigate carefully rather than relying on exaggerated claims. Look closely at every detail. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Examine the rim. Weigh the coin. Study the surfaces. Compare the design. Learn the difference between damage and genuine mint errors. Research auction records. Consult professional experts when necessary. If your 1977 penny is a normal circulated coin, it may not be worth much more than 1 cent, but it still carries nearly 50 years of history. If it is an exceptionally preserved certified coin, its value may be significantly higher. If it has a genuine and dramatic mint error, it could be a much more interesting collectible. The documented market tells us that the strongest known prices for ordinary 1977 Lincoln cents are associated with exceptional grades rather than anything remotely approaching $228 million. A 1977 Philadelphia cent has a documented PCGS auction record of $2,645 in MS66 red, while the 1977 D has a documented record of $7,050 in MS68 red. These results show the importance of condition and rarity within the surviving population. Therefore, if you encounter a 1977 penny that someone claims is worth $228 million, the correct response is not immediate excitement or disbelief. The correct response is investigation. Ask for proof. Ask for a documented auction record. Ask for professional certification. Ask what specific error supposedly makes the coin extraordinary. If no evidence exists, the claim should not be treated as an established market value. The world of coin collecting is full of fascinating discoveries, but it is also full of myths. The collector who learns to separate fact from exaggeration will have a major advantage. Instead of chasing impossible valuations, they can focus on genuine rarity and real numismatic history. A 1977 Lincoln cent may be small, but it represents American history, industrial manufacturing, presidential memory, monetary policy, and the everyday experience of millions of people. It passed through a world that no longer exists exactly as it did in 1977. The coin itself may have traveled thousands of miles, changed hands hundreds of times, and survived decades of economic and social change. That alone makes it an interesting object. And when a genuine error appears, the story becomes even more compelling. A small mistake during the complex process of producing billions of coins can create a piece that collectors remember for generations. The difference between an ordinary cent and an extraordinary error may be only a few millimeters of misalignment, a missing section of metal, a dramatic die break, or a striking anomaly. That is why collectors continue searching. The next time you see a 1977 Lincoln cent, take a closer look. The coin may be ordinary, or it may have an unusual characteristic worth investigating. But remember that the most reliable path to determining value is careful examination, professional authentication, and documented market evidence. The 1977 Lincoln cent is not a confirmed $228 million coin. There is no established evidence supporting that figure as its current market value. The genuine collectible story is more nuanced and, in many ways, more interesting. The coin is common in ordinary grades, but exceptional condition and genuine mint errors can create meaningful premiums. The documented auction records show that high-grade examples can reach thousands of dollars, while truly unusual errors must be evaluated individually. That reality does not make the 1977 penny boring. It makes the hunt more authentic. Every coin has a story, but the collector's job is to discover the real one.